And first up this holiday, Associate Professor of Finance at Andrews University in Michigan, US, Professor Williams Ripra has welcomed government's decision to modify and extend the deadline for the debt exchange program to January 6. According to him, it will enable the government achieve its target by getting an International Monetary Fund supported program before the end of the first quarter of next year.
The new terms on the domestic debt restructuring program by government gives an indication that government is now seeking for equity, whereby government has included individual investors. It also points to the fact that government is hoping to achieve 80% of principal funds to be in the program. A significant improvement in these new terms is government acceptance to use lending in arrears policy, which is also accepted by IMF to address issues when creditors are becoming difficult to accept government terms. In this lending in arrears process, government is going to accrue interest due and pay them later. We are hoping that this particular terms will be accepted by creditors in the domestic industry.
Also reacting to this, economist Professor Lord Mensah, who says government's decision to modify and extend the deadline for the debt exchange program shows it has become or has taken a softer approach in dealing with debt restructuring.
New restructuring that is coming up, gives way, which will have no option for other financial institutions to buy into it. Because when your bond gets matured in 2023 and you receive your, interest payment and coupons, obviously you may have no choice than to reinvest. And looking at inflation now, you are better off reinvesting than, keeping the money idle. So, in the end, what the new structures that are coming seem to be a bit flexible and seem to, absorb, all the, investable assets into the folds of government. So I believe that it's something that government may have to, sit down and let the people be aware that this is what we need to restructure, the economy, to make the economy, to make the economy find its footing. And at the end of the day, we may all end up, enjoying, into the future. The same new structure, indicate that we're going to have bonds that are maturing from 2027 all the way to 2028. If it's trust and if it's possible, mistrust that you have in government. As far as our, pensions regulation is concerned, pensions have about 75% minimum to be invested in, government bonds. And so what the government is proposing, most of these bonds are 5 years and above, and we're going to see maturities from 2027 all the way to 2038. So if you're a pension fund manager and you think, you don't have trust in the government for you to invest in that long term, which will be about, let's say, a 15-year bond or let's say 10-year bond, then you may have perhaps do, 5 years, which will be from 2023 to 2027. And then from there on, maybe you can decide to reinvest or whatever you will do with your funds. You indicate that as far as your investment matures. So with a new structure, I think government is becoming a bit softer.
We can hear next from research fellow at the Institute of Statistical, Social and Economic Research, Professor Charles Aka, who is, however, concerned the debt restructuring program may not have been properly thought through by government, hence the modifications. He says there is more room to renegotiate the debt restructuring program with the IMF.
Decisions, and therefore we realize that it doesn't work. Look how much was expected from year 11, about 6.5 billion, and we are not getting even 1 billion. Even for the next 4 years, they're expecting about 3 billion. So what went into the expectation that they will introduce e-levy at that high level of 1.75 and get Ghanaians to comply and get 6.5 billion? Okay, what went into the decision to cancel the toll booths because there are traffic at some point and all the amount of money that's lost, and we now think of reintroducing it? So if the government now realizes that they need to extend the deadline, it's just showing that they're probably complacent. I'm over-optimistic about the whole debt exchange, about the fact that people were going to accept it as it is. If they have now excluded pension funds, which for me shouldn't have been there in the first place, it was a socially, useless issue to include pension funds in such a draconian debt restructuring. Pensioners, people are 65, 80 years old, drawing their pension, some less than 2,500 Ghana cedis a month, to buy drugs, diabetes drugs, cancer drugs, kidney drugs. Why would you want to tamper with that? Okay, so that's it shouldn't have been there at all. But again, that goes to tell us that it's not everything that the IMF says that we must just swallow as sacrosanct. I was expecting the IMF to have told the government to have excluded pension funds, but they looked at it and went back to Washington. And they seem to think that it will be okay, despite the dislocation that it was going to cost to pensioners and to old people, and the inequality and the social stress it was going to bring into the economy. So I think there's still room for us to look at the whole debt exchange program again.
Meantime, interest rates continue to fall on the Treasury market, going down marginally for the third week running. According to Treasury bills auction results, the yields on all the 3 short-term instruments took a nosedive. Here's more in this report.
21-day T-bill recorded the biggest drop of 0.64% to 34.93%, followed by the 182 bill with a decline of 0.50% to 36.03%. The yield on the 1-year bill also fell by 0.09% to 36.10%. This decline in the yields of the short-term instruments, though marginally, will save the government some cost of repaying the principal and interest at maturity. The decline in interest rates is also boosted by improved liquidity as government continues to secure more than its targets for the T-bills auction. However, this is partly due to the debt exchange program, where the government of Ghana bonds have been affected by haircuts, unlike T-bills.
Let's turn to other news for you. The Ghana Revenue Authority has its eyes focused on nightclubs, pubs, cinemas, and restaurants as it clamps down on businesses evading taxes. The authority says it will make sure players in the tourism and hospitality sectors comply with the revenue law. Listen to Joseph Annan, head of enforcement unit Accra Central of the GRA, speak to the media during a night operation at Spintex, East Legon, and Ringway here in Accra.
We have been to 3 places. The first place we visited is Sizzle Events Bar and Grill. Yes, that is at Ringway Estate. Then from there we moved to Mango's Restaurant. That is at East Legon. And currently we are at the Spintex Road at Hangout. Yes. And all these taxpayers are registered, but they are either not issuing the VAT at all, or they are doing selective issuance of the invoice. And like we have always said, it's an infraction on the law. And Section 58 of the VAT Act makes it an offense for not issuance of the VAT invoice, non-issuance of the VAT. So currently it's late. So as we have always been doing, this time around we are inviting them to the office tomorrow morning for the CRD to take their statement. But we have picked their records, which will be examined, and the preemptive assessment will be established. The law is for all of us. You may not like the law, but once it's passed, we need to abide by the law. And as the law requires, once you are registered, you must issue the VAT invoice. And if you are not registered, that is even worse. Because when we come to you, what it means is that we are compulsorily going to register you. And that comes with quite a heavy penalty. So please, don't wait for us to come.
Well, join us on Zoom for more on this is Emmanuel Frimpong. You may remember him from his former role as Executive Secretary of the Ghana Tourism Federation. He's now tourism consultant and analyst with Patient Consult. Merry Christmas to you and congratulations on your new move. I guess the thinking is that most of these businesses, the pubs, cinemas, restaurants, nightclubs, are going to make so much money this festive season. That's why the GRA is targeting them. Is that the reality?
Good afternoon, Daryl. Merry Christmas to your cherished viewers. It seems so, but the GRA is also doing their work as has been mandated by the laws of this country. So as much as we may say it that way, they also have a responsibility to carry out their duties.
Well, I remember the last time we spoke, you were excited about December in GH. Is that living up to expectation?
I think so far it has. Just 3 days ago, we were at the Independence Square when we had the Taste of Ghana. And before that, we've had several events. And currently, there are other events that are going on across the country. The interesting thing about this year's December in GH is the fact that it is not only centered in Accra, as we have been seeing over the years. This time around, almost all the regions have something going on as far as December and GH is concerned. So it's pretty much good. A lot is going on. We encourage a lot more people to participate and be part of what is going on.
And I know it's been pretty tight, the economy this year, and I guess the fear is that it would affect people's spending habits. So what is the strategy you're seeing by these businesses in the tourism and hospitality space to meet patrons halfway?
Daryl, it's quite interesting. If you go out there, you want to ask yourself, is it the same people complaining? There's no money, people are struggling. But I want to believe that at the end of the day, whatever it is at the end of the year, you have to find a way of encouraging yourself, find a way of meeting people, find a way of getting in touch with your clients, your customers, your friends, your family members, and just celebrating something that, after all, we are alive. So whatever it is, let's make merry, let's have fun. So people are out there. Some few things have been reduced because the dollar is going down, fuel is going down, a number of things are going down. So a few things have been reduced. But irrespective of that, people are still out there having fun and enjoying themselves. And that gives us hope.
Yeah, and that's pretty surprising. I guess people are thinking, just like you say, we're going to have fun anyway, despite the harsh economic conditions. And so that makes the case for the GRA that people, businesses in that space, hospitality and tourism, should pay their taxes. I just want to know, is it the case that businesses are deliberately evading taxes or they don't know what to do? And I'll be surprised by that, bearing in mind that some of these businesses are only recovering from the COVID-19 pandemic and are being hit by the harsh economic conditions too.
Daryl, one of the challenges that we have is the authorities' inability to understand how some of these businesses operate and really sitting down to understand how they operate and how they can even help them to pay their taxes, which is required by law. Some of them, it is not because they don't want to pay. Some of them, it's because of what you mentioned, the hardship, the COVID hardship that they see themselves still in. There hasn't been any support from anyone for some of these businesses. So the little that they get, the immediate thing they are thinking about is, let's reinvest, let's pay our workers. So it's not a deliberate attempt for them not to pay taxes, but the little that comes in, the first thing you are thinking about is, how do I survive? Then you plug it back into the business. Then the taxman comes and thinks you are not willing to pay the tax, and they don't also want to understand how your business is operated, and that becomes an issue.
Yeah, like you said, most of them will be thinking right now, how do I pay my workers? And most of them are in arrears because they've not paid their workers for months. So is there a strategy you would advise from the GRA rather than perhaps close down these businesses outrightly?
I think to close down businesses it doesn't make sense because if you close down the business, don't forget it's about people getting employment, people working already, people are struggling. So if you close down the business, what have you achieved? You are not going to get your revenue that you're asking for next month, next year. So what do? You need to sit down with business owners and structure how they are going to pay. At the end of the day, is the money you are looking for, your revenue. So you sit down with them and negotiate, plan how they are going to pay, and also engage them, understand the business that they do, so that there can be a structured way of they paying. Sometimes they will sit back, wait during Christmas or Easter, and then they pounce on them, threatening them to close down their businesses. It doesn't work that way. There should be a way of engaging them every now and then. Don't wait for them to even come to the office, say that, yes, it's their responsibility to come and pay. It is, but it is also equally your responsibility to educate them to pay their taxes. If you don't do that, don't rush on them and close their businesses. If you do that, it doesn't help you, it doesn't help the business owner, it doesn't help the country.
All right. And so once again, Merry Christmas to you. How are you spending your Boxing Day?
Well, as you can see, I'm already in the car. I came to Street Academy to be with the kids, and we've been having fun. They are eating, they are enjoying having music, and also encouraging them, because these children are street children who have nowhere to go. And around this time, we come, we bring food, drink, and then we encourage them, we motivate them, and we assure them that, yes, they may not have parents, but some of us are around to support them and to help them to become what God created them to be. So basically, that is what I'm doing from here. I'll go back to be with my family, and then we also have fun.
Well, that's pretty nice. Thank you so much, and all the best in the coming year. Emmanuel Frimpong, the tourism consultant. Well, Christmas is the time of the year when people are expected to be in their homes with their families and friends, but traders in Kumasi believe the moment is a season of reaping even at night. The Central and KGTL markets are still packed late in the night, going beyond what has become the normal daytime trading, and traders believe the night market complements their incomes gained from daytime trade, whilst patrons say things are cheaply sold at night. Clinton Yabwa explores the situation.
As people prepare for the Christmas festivities, markets run deep into the night here in Central Markets and in KGTL in Kumasi. Traders and buyers shared their experience with the Christmas night market.
Shopping.
Said the business will see corner. Inside, what they are, a duck, the pardon and TV Maho. Tiana tries the man outside. A month of why they're here. Babo and Chenya Jacka craft fine. You go store for no man and then Sunday, Tiabai, the whole day. I say, another food day and the whole day, but you run some man about market. I go for party out to the Sayan Siabana, you have a turn at the Kakra. It's a good and money arrested.
And maybe baby Christmas shopping because Anna prices no was true. Near China and near Bani about the Sikabeshon Intino, a Jameba, Kakwami to me toy because Anna prices no from Mitobola jeans and I'm a tops and a belt. I'm not part of the Ebola jeans there. At least over to many be 70 cedis, 50 cedis. But over in Ray, I bet when you be 30, 25 cedis. Aha, you know. Junior pen in Reno.
Mr. Boise, but me heard more Colongo. But during Xmas, the holidays in them, telling Raina and then the holidays now, make us run my family or Boise. But since I know me, Beduk must me say, Nema Bebre or Tanwa, Christmas Nema, any other didn't make the Jackacra, I made a common bush, and then maybe a many bit make a sona F. Now I was a metal. I did go my Adia Sano, can you bit matter of my offer? How do you do fear Navy and and yet, then you have especially additional when you want. Until another time, you so much when you don't.
Reporting for Joy News, Clinton Yabwa.
And we'll still stay in Kumasi because dealers in vehicular spare parts, as Swami Magazine, say transportation, taxes, and import duties are major factors compelling them to maintain high prices. They tell motorists the prices of old stock are maintained to reflect the previous hikes in fuel prices and high dollar rates. The dealers, however, suggest a reduction in duty fees and import taxes to inform new prices. Love FM's Henry Nyame explores the situation in this report.
The Ghanaian economy is expected to expand by 2.8% next year, according to the Finance Minister Ken Oforiatta. This is compelling the Ghana business community to make adjustments to trading activities to reflect in the pockets of buyers. According to the World Bank, crude oil have fallen by about 1/3 from their June highs. The cedi has also recorded marginal appreciation in recent weeks. But these conditions are yet to affect price reduction in the spare parts sector at the Swami Automotive Hub. Car engines, tires, bonnets, and others remain highly priced. James Old Papa is a car engine dealer at the Swami magazine. He tells Love FM it would be unfair if the dealers reduce prices whilst import expenses remain constant.
So dollar na abafuma niam na wo na yeko ye de dollar no 15 no kofae no ye beton ne sen nkranfo atete niam no so no kre ye containers most e fata crowd na eba car na di container no ba no 40 feet no and can be 10,000 but enkran from Tama to Abaso can be 2,500 and this one no what me cars can no fi media no more etimi ya nemfa so.
George Akwesi Jimfi says the apparent reduction would occur in the future and not sooner.
Say no, we be back 42 am the man because dollar no akofem kakra. Enti se minya 42 na me bo kakra na mfi se dollar na be kwa kwhyemu ho a. Obi beba, obebu sabo no. Ebo na eden no wo kọ. Esa ne yenso no yentimi nwe nade no man ye.
We understand that this refusal is affecting the business of drivers. They share their plight with us.
Kwekuteria has over 15 years of experience as a driver at a Tunsu station, and he describes the situation as cheating.
Car battery, now 550 and 1,000 and over. And that's the you run transport with food and the food and the American above from say near the Trian. But I come now, Benyano. That's all called pass a buono, and that's the idea. That's a question called Odian Quentia. As I had driver for Muna, Maca can be sort of Sabi or Musisi.
Ejakoa Brantier, station master for the Atunsu minibar station, wants the government to intervene.
So more so koto adia ukwa pone da ho no anu da ho ye fa chichiro mama ni nyi enti se empanifo ndom na sifom no obutimi boy no omu ye baako no obutimi hwe se ne be ya no mani nyina be den e betimi apafom ne nyina ye nya de fa hodi se ne be ya obi ho nchire no obi nso ho den atono.
From Kumasi, reporting for Joy News, Henry.
And we have one more news item for you. The Ghana Institute of Procurement and Supply (GIPS) has reaffirmed its commitment to ensure the passage of the draft procurement practicing bill to guide and sanitize the procurement landscape. According to President of the Institute, Simon Annan, the passage of the bill will not only tackle procurement infractions, but also give the right level of backing to practitioners and professionals to go about their functions ethically and professionally. He spoke to Joy Business at the annual general meeting and swearing in of new governing council members.
The bill has been drafted, thankfully, by the old executives, and now what we're going to do is to move it to the cabinet and from cabinet to parliament. Now we have as I said, the draft bill. Currently we are doing the stakeholder engagement. We have already engaged PPA, that's Public Procurement Authority, and waiting for their input. We have also engaged a couple of stakeholders which we think they are very relevant to our profession, and one of them that I can talk about is the auditing firm that's very prominent in Ghana here, and we think that if procurement is done properly, the work of audit becomes easier and the country gets value for whatever spend that we are doing. Procurement and supply chain has become more profound in terms of ensuring that there's value for money. And how do we ensure value for money? By moving the processes which are manual to digitization platform. And we're happy that our Vice President had led this agenda for the past years. And PPA, or Public Procurement Authority, has also embarked on what we call the Ghana Electronic Procurement Platform. And as an institute, we are throwing our weight behind that initiative and asking government to accelerate that, because as soon as we move away from paper processes to digitization, it's going to save the country a lot.
And that's the marketplace this Boxing Day. Thanks for watching, everyone. More news on our website, myjoyonline.com/business. World economy headed for recession in 2023, according to research. You can read more about that and other stories, myjoyonline.com/business. My name is Daryl Kwawu. Thanks for watching. Enjoy your holiday.